All right, we're gonna do our top six three podcast rankings of most important players in the city of Detroit. Well, not necessarily
Players,
players.
not even just players, right?
Most important people in sports in the city of Detroit. So we're going Pistons, Red Wings, Tigers, Lions. Um, Putting them all together. See who comes out on top. Ben, I'm gonna let you go first here.
Steve Yzerman.
Steve Yzerman, number one. All right.
Yep. Red Wings. I mean, I think at the end of the day, I mean, yes, the the Detroit sports fans are starving for the Tigers to be good and the Lions to be good, right? But at the end of the day, like I think at heart they I think they could really use the Red Wings to be good, right? And the
Okay.
Red Wings right now are the team that's a little bit lagging behind between the
Yeah.
other
That's
between
why
the
I'm
other,
surprised you
right?
picked Stevie Y because
Because he's that important.
his first few years have been pretty underwhelming.
Because he's that
Uh,
important. That's what I'm saying. It's the importance. He's got to figure it out. Um,
oh, that's an interesting perspective on why to look at it important. Yeah.
so yeah, and I think at the end of the day, like the Pistons are showing progress. I still think there's just things that they need to improve. The Tigers have gotten a lot better pretty quick, and obviously we've seen what the Lions are better than they've ever been, right? So, and we'll see what happens, down this.
Tigers are the best team in baseball right now,
As
right?
of now,
So
they are. Are they still tied right now, though? Is it 4-4?
was it did the Cardinals score four
Yeah, it's 4-4. I saw it was 4-4.
dogs? I saw it was
Um,
4-0.
yeah, it's 4-4.
Riley Green hit a home run to hit me 4-0.
But I just think that the Red Wings, I mean, it's hockey's a little different. They've gotten completely jobbed in the lottery a little bit too. But it would be really cool if the Red Wings got real good again. I think Detroit's kind of starving for that. You can kind of see it in the stretches that they've been good the last couple of years. Um, there's been a buzz, and
It'd be good to go back to Hockey Town for
it
sure.
would, it would. So it's been too long. So
All right. Well, my number one is Motor City Dan Campbell, MCDC.
yep.
I just think when I'm thinking of like Detroit sports right now, it seems like Dan Campbell is like the face of Detroit sports.
Mhm.
And you just see him everywhere. He's doing commercials for Applebee's. Like, yeah, to me, he's just the epitome of what you want from, especially leadership,
Yep.
just empowering grit,
Yeah.
encouraging his players to go the extra for one another. And I think that's obviously we've seen it pay off with him and Brad Holmes there, but just seeing what the Lions have been a dumpster fire and just a mock pit for NFL fans for decades,
Yep.
and to now being one of the more respected teams in the NFL. Um, I think it's a huge part of the culture that Dan Campbell has brought along with Brad Holmes to Detroit Lions.
I would agree with that. Are we just doing 10 between the two of us or 10 each of us 10?
Yeah, we got time to do 10 each of us. So
All right.
that was my number one. Yeah.
All right. I'll go with Dan Campbell at number two. He would be my for me. I mean,
Okay.
to just piggyback on everything you said. I mean, I would agree with all that. I mean, I think um, yeah. I mean, yeah, he's probably the most active out there. I mean, I picked Yzerman for that perspective that I had before, like I said, but like the turnaround is impressive. But like at the same time, like I also think I can look at it from the Yzerman perspective too. Like there's some pressure on him now too, right? There's
Well,
expectations.
see, when I made my list, I did not, when I was thinking important, I'm like, Detroit needs these people here. Like, so I
Sure.
wasn't like, oh, he's got the pressure, so it's important that he gets his crap together. Like, I wasn't thinking from that
No, I
perspective.
think he has his crap together, and I think he's an excellent head coach, and I
Well,
think he
getting
actually
McClellan instead and firing the last guy was a lot better for sure.
sure,
But
sure. And I think for Dan Campbell, I think he's an excellent head coach, and he does embody the city, and he's active in the city, and he cares about it, and I think all that stuff matters. And but like I was gonna say, there's pressure on. I think there's pressure on Dan Campbell now, though. There is expectation for the Lions to be good, right?
Mhm.
So 2 years ago, I mean, I think we all kind of thought they might have a chance to be good, right? But they kind of shocked everybody by how good they were.
Well, even the real fans are still like, they're the Lions, man. Like, who knows?
Exactly, right? Lions
It
gonna
hurt our, you
Lion,
could
right?
break our hearts again.
Right, and now last year, like we expected them to be good, they were good, and then they kind of choked it right at the end. And
Yeah.
we can talk about the injuries, and like we can be realists. And I I wasn't that shocked just because of that type of the situation they found themselves in with the injuries, right? But
Yeah.
at the end of the day, like now it's like, all right, man, like we got to get back to the NFC Championship game at least.
And probably arguably one of the toughest divisions in football this year.
Correct, right? Everybody's good now, right? You
Mhm.
guys were kind of at the forefront. You guys were first to get real good in the NFC North, but now everybody's good. I would expect everybody to be good in that division
Mhm.
next year. So, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. My number two is Cade Cunningham.
yep,
And he took that step this year.
yep,
So probably would have barely scratched my top 10. He
yep,
probably would have been somewhere around eight. But he took a massive leap, obviously, for me to go to two. I just felt like he was exactly, and he was the leader on the Pistons. Starting squad for the team. JB
yep,
Bickerstaff did an outstanding job coming back and
yep,
absolutely got stiffed on Coach of the Year. Uh, but Cade Cunningham just took another step this year. Like it averaged a ton of points, still passed the ball, was getting triple doubles. It's no easy task in the NBA to do that and take a team from the bottom feeders the last several years to now being a team that probably I think it's wide open for them next year. So I think
yep,
they can take that next step, especially the way they played against the Knicks, who have surprised themselves into the Eastern Conference Finals. So
yep, yeah. Um, for me, I'm actually going to go with Tarek Skubal here. Um, I would look at it almost as from an importance standpoint. I mean, obviously, a pitcher is going to have bad starts and things like that, but I don't know where the Tigers would be without that absolute stud of a pitcher, right? They feel good about every time he goes out, right?
it's that
Yeah,
third time
yeah.
around, though. He struggled a little bit
Well,
this
and
year. That's what he did
he
again this
struggled
time with the
today, right?
Cardinals.
But he's arguably been the best pitcher in baseball beyond the last probably two starts. Today, he only won five, but
5-2. Yeah, eight strikeouts again, though. He's still whipping them past. He can throw it down the middle and people are going to miss.
again, he's the leader of that staff, and it's a really good staff. It really is. But they've got Mize down injured, right? And Mize is always
And
seeming
Reese Olson, too. Reese
right,
Olson, no.
and Mize is seemingly
And
always
Alex Cobb.
right? So without him, I don't like without him, they're probably not without him, I'm just saying like in general, not even just this year, like without him taking that step into, being able to be a Cy Young winner last year or, without him just being that good, like in developing, I mean, I don't know where they are, right? I mean, I don't they're not they don't make playoffs last year. I can tell you that right now. Uh,
Yeah.
and they're not the best team in baseball this year without him right now. I mean, he's had a stretch. The last two starts, he's probably run into some guys are making some adjustments, but uh, before that stretch before that, he was as dominant as you'll see out there. So,
Yeah. And he still looks good every time he comes out. It's just he
yep,
started getting, it seems like some hitters are figuring him out by third
yep,
time around. Uh, my next one is going to be Aiden Hutchinson.
hmm
We saw the downfall of the pass rush and the defense all together. And maybe some of the culture. Like they've always had the culture, but it's like what Aiden brings in energy, what Aiden brings in talent, that's not replaceable. How he elevates the entire defense, you know, to me, that's why he's so important. And I expect him to hopefully, I think maybe not right off the season bat to be, defense player of the year candidate like he was last year off the bat, but I think he'll get back into it.
yep,
It's a tough recovery. It's a brutal leg injury, and
yep,
but he's a beast. Anyone can do it. He can. So
yep.
yeah, he's my next guy.
Okay. Um, I'm also going to go with Aiden, just if we're putting him in order. Yeah, I mean, I think he was just the heart and soul of that defense, and you can say maybe even team, right? Um,
Mhm.
and without being there, I don't know for sure, right? But you know, when they lost him, it was just took the
That was a
wind
gut punch.
took the
Yeah.
wind out of the sails, right? They kept winning games. They kept chugging along, right? Because they were good, and I think they were coached well, and they have good leaders on that team, and But at the end of the day, I
But
mean,
they had some gutty, like gritty
that's what I mean. Like
wins.
they
Like
should not have been. Their record
yeah,
was way better than
how
what it
they
was,
look sometimes on the field.
right?
Yeah.
And they knew how to win, and that's and I thought they were coached well. And Aaron Glenn kind of got things done with smoke and mirrors at times at the end of the year last year. Um,
Hmm.
but it'll be nice to have him back. And I think again, the emotional leader of the team, the emotional leader of that defense. It should be fun to see him come back, and yeah, hopefully healthy and ready to rock and roll.
Yeah, my number four is Tarek Skubal. You've mentioned him already. And yeah, I probably have him up higher. I just feel like I have the foresight of there's no way Scott Boras is letting him get re-signed by the Tigers and not feel that market out and
Yeah,
potentially get 450 to even 500 million. And he's going
yeah,
to be a 31-year-old pitcher. The
yep.
writing on the wall is there where it's like you either trade him at the deadline at some point here
Well,
or
depends on where they're
you,
sitting. But the problem
yeah,
is they've been too good. They can't trade him,
yeah.
right? If they were like
Well, they still have him
500,
next year, so they could still trade him yet
right,
next year.
right.
But
If they next year or this year find themselves like 500,
mhm.
or around,
Yeah, I
middling.
don't see it happening this year. Right
I
now, they're
don't
the
see
best
it
team in
happening
baseball.
this
They
year.
need him.
Obviously, they're too good. They would have to go on an unprecedented, terrible losing run.
Mhm.
But if they find themselves like, all right, we're kind of treading water, then they should move him next year. Is what they should do.
I agree.
And
Yep.
so, unfortunately, it's just how it works because
Mhm.
Boris is his agent and he's that good. So,
Yeah. All right, you're number five.
um, let me think about this because I
We
can
can
go
go
with
a
a
few
couple different
routes. I
guys
was gonna say
here.
I got like four guys. I'm just
Tim
saying
Hardaway Jr. No,
for a
um,
moment there.
for a moment. Um, I'll go with Cade Cunningham. I would agree with you here. I mean, I think he deserves to be up here in the top five, just because I think he did take that step as the leader, and they needed. That's what the Pistons needed that from him, right? If he didn't turn out to be like that guy, they were never gonna get to where got this year, slightly surprisingly, and also like now it's like okay, now we can build on that and build around him, right? There was a second there where it was like are we building around this guy or is he just a guy, right? Is he just like a good player, right? And is he going to be able to be that superstar guy? And I think he proved that he is. He can be that
He's
guy.
in the upper tier.
Yeah.
Maybe he's
Now I
not in the
think
elite category yet, but he's
no,
definitely upper
no, and you know
echelon.
what? Even guys that are picked number one are rarely in the rarefied air of the elite, right?
Hmm.
They just
Yeah.
aren't, right? But he is in that
Sometimes
upper.
they're Markel Fultz. It's just the way it is.
Sometimes they are, right? Um, Sometimes you're Darko Milicic for a Pistons reference. That's
Yeah.
sad.
Oh,
Um,
I'm sad.
so yeah, I mean, I think he deserves to be in the top five. Most important.
Yeah, here I could take a couple routes. I'm gonna go Panay Sewell here
Okay.
next.
Okay.
And it's interesting taking an offensive tackle, but he is the arguably the best offensive tackle in football right now.
Yep.
Also a high energy guy, plays with a lot of passion, will execute on some of the most bizarre play calls that Ben Johnson has thrown out there in the past. And again, a leader, even on the offense, even as an offensive lineman, where it's rare to become that leader. I think Penei Sewell has it. He's got that Samoan energy, that
Yep.
Polynesian power, right? And
Yep.
it's a huge part again of the Lions' success. And I really could probably fill a lot of this top 10 with Lions players, but
Well,
I
they've been
think
that
Penei
good.
Penei is all pro. Penei is Pro Bowl. Penei is already future Hall of Famer at something like so. Yeah, I'm good taking him here at five.
I'm gonna go with Jared Goff for my next one.
Jared Goff.
I think the
Yeah, I mean,
city
if you get a
rallied
whole city
behind
to
him.
chant,
Yeah, at hockey games,
yeah. Western Michigan
Western
hockey
Michigan
games.
hockey games, right?
Yes.
I mean, in Kalamazoo, like I mean,
Yes.
so I mean, it's. I mean, I just think the city's rallied around him. Michigan itself, the whole state rallied around him, and I think he kind of embodies that Detroit like come from behind, mentality. He is gritty. He's a California guy, but he's got that toughness. I still like get just absolutely livid with him at least two or three times a game. because he sacks himself or he's
Hmm.
the problem with Jared Goff is I think he is like elite at like 90% of what you need to be elite at to be an elite quarterback. And then there's like that
Right.
extra little bit where you're like, yeah, he'll just never get that. He'll never
That
be that.
10% of like ass, basically. Yeah.
Yeah, where it's like, and it's not even that he's just okay at it. He's just not good at all. He can't move.
Just duck. Just a
He can't
duck.
move at all.
And
He
he
can't
throws
even
ducks sometimes. They're just
correct.
ducks.
Well, he's got little hands. That's he
Yeah.
does. So that was a knock on him out of college is that he had small hands. Um, so yeah, I mean, but at the end of the day, like importance. I mean, what have we said? What have I said every year? If 16 goes down, it's over. So you pack it up and you stop watching if 16's actually hurt. So, and that's going to be the case again this year.
It's because you don't believe in Hendon Hooker the way I do.
I don't believe in Hendon Hooker even a little.
But Kyle Allen? Oh, okay.
No, I don't believe in him either. I don't believe in
Okay.
anybody they have on the roster other than 16 right now. So until they prove me otherwise, which but they haven't taken anybody, and you know what? That's how much they believe in him too. So
So I've gone back and forth on this next one for me because they needed each other. Like, but I think I'm gonna go with Brad Holmes over Amon Ra here. But that's just I mean, but Brad Holmes picked Amon Ra, right? You picked the
yeah,
guy in the fourth round over everybody
yep,
else, and have built this team again on culture, just like Dan Campbell. You hired the right guy, right?
mhm,
They got Brad Holmes before they hired Dan Campbell. Brad Holmes got to help make that hire. Um, and so a lot of things he's done right. Now, there's been some things where it's like it's trading up in the draft in the third round, giving some pretty decent draft capital away to get certain guys. He did it again this year, but like we've had Broderick Martin, we've had Kobe Sorsdahl, we've had trading up to Jamison Williams, who basically looked like he was gonna give me a stroke the first 2 years of his football career. There's been some what are you doing picks. Um, signing Marcus Davenport was kind of not my favorite thing. Like there's potential there, but everyone and their brother knew that he wasn't going to play more than 4 games this year, and he
yep,
played two and a half. So, um, I just yeah, I've got my qualms, but no one's perfect. And the way that he has brought culture to again the bottom feeder of the NFL for 50 years.
he also embodies, I think, Detroit. Like
Hmm.
he doesn't care. Like he literally does not kind of care about what these prognosticators think or like what draft grades. Like he doesn't
The
care.
Mel Kipers of the world,
Yeah, I
right?
mean
Yeah,
he,
he
he
doesn't.
does
And
not even kind of care about any of that at all, right? So,
just gave a great speech at a college commencement where he just said, choose your hard. And he's like, there's a lot of things, your whole life is hard. Choose your hard.
yeah,
Marriage is hard. Divorce is hard. Choose
right,
your hard, right? Like
correct.
there's different things that you can do, things that you're going to face. And like just, he's the motivational speaker too, just like Dan Campbell. And I think that culture is just, it's pervasive.
Yep,
So,
yep, I would agree.
yeah. So
I
that's
would.
why I chose that one first.
Yeah, no, I like that. Um, we'll go with Hinch. We'll go with AJ Hinch here.
He's my next guy. Yeah. Okay.
So the Tigers went out and they got the best available manager at the time when they had to make.
Despite, his
Despite,
history with the Astros.
despite, and they did a really good PR job. I think they figured out a way to do it to where it like didn't really blow up. And I think
Mhm.
at the time the Tigers were so bad. Like if they had been like a close to playoff team or like a playoff team before, and they still
They
had
had a great bridge manager, Gardy. They had Gardy as their bridge
good,
manager.
but they still were horrendously horrible at base. They were not good, right?
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, like, if they had been good, and then like Gardenhire retired, right, and then they had to go get a guy. I don't know if that
Hmm.
Hinch hire goes over as well because they could be like, why didn't you hire
Mm.
Gardenhire's bench coach or something like that. But they were so bad that I think the Detroit sports fans were like, I don't care about the baggage. I
Yeah.
don't care at all. So I think and at the time, I wanted the White Sox to hire him the year before, right? That's what I wanted. So uh, they went out and they got the best manager at the time, and he's paid dividends pretty immediately. think he's just a good manager. He's smart. Um, Obviously, they've got a good coaching staff, so that helps. And I think Fetter's a godsend. Good to have.
So yeah, Federer is on my top 25 list.
Yeah, I mean, you
Let's just
can't
say
put the
he
pitching
I
coach.
have him at I have him at 19,
You
but
can't
he's
really
a
put the
pitching coach.
pitching coach as a top 10, but he is that. He is
But he's
that,
at 19 as a pitching coach.
that
So
good.
for my list.
So, so you know, I do think. I think Hinch belongs in the top 10. He's that good, and he's made it a turnaround. And I mean, we'll see where they end up this year. And I still have my doubts about the long term expectations of the team this year. But I mean, he's got them playing as good as any team in baseball right now. So
So yeah, Hinch is definitely one of my next two. Like I said, between Brad Holmes, I was going back and forth between him and Amon-Ra, St. Brown. Uh, Amon-Ra playing with a chip on his shoulder, like being able to rattle off the wide receivers. That's the start of it right there. Having a cocky swagger, but like just plays for his team. It's not a me cocky. It's a have fun cocky.
well, that and it's a
And you
chip
see
on
that
his
on his podcast when he does it with his brother Equanimous. Like, when they go on there, he's screwing around with people. We give Craig Reynolds, the business about bailing last minute and being vocal about it. Like there's like a level of cocky, but it's swagger and it's not me centric cocky. It's just I don't know. It's a different type of cocky, and I can't totally
it's a
put it
chip
into
on his
words.
shoulder. He has a chip on his shoulder because he it's almost like little man syndrome, but he's not a little man. But it's
No,
like it's
yeah.
like he's been doubted, right? He has been doubted to this point, and he felt like he was the best receiver in that draft, and he felt like he's even said it. He's like the Lions even passed on me. They didn't draft me as soon as they should have, right? Like so
Yeah, the pass on me 3 times.
feels like it's the same thing if you talk if you listen to like Tom Brady talking about like what kept him going every day. Like Brady felt like he had to be the best in practice, even like especially early on in his career. He's like, I didn't know if I was gonna play if I sucked in practice. Like, yeah, I really like. He's like, I don't. I mean, now is
Yeah.
that true? Probably not, right? Especially as Brady's, mystique grew, and especially as he had the success. And but like, I think Amon Ra's got that same mindset and attitude, and I think he
And it's
probably,
paid off. He's
yeah,
top five receiver in the league pretty much right now. So
absolutely, absolutely.
yeah.
I'll go Jamison Williams. No, I'll
What
go.
is this 8 here? I think this is
I
8,
think this
right?
is 8. Um, Man, the Illich family.
Okay.
That counts. That
No,
counts.
it does. Chris Ilitch is on my list. Granted, he's 46th,
No,
but
it matters. Every decision he makes. I mean, at the end of the day, like he's controlling all of this, sort in a way, right?
Mhm.
And is he hands off on a lot of these decisions? Yeah, but like at the end of the day, like
He's a cheapskate, man.
he is a cheapskate, right? So if he does, that's what's going to really tell me for the Tigers. I mean, this is like a tangent a little bit, but if they actually buy and like, I mean, like they don't have to really buy, but if they actually add pieces that make sense at the deadline, like the bullpen, right? They need help in the bullpen. They're going to get
Mhm.
beat up, and they don't. They need help, right? And if they actually add aggressively at the deadline, that'll show a change to me with Illich, right? But
Yeah.
if not, I don't know, man. He is a cheapskate. So, and he's a cheapskate. He's been a cheapskate with the across the board. You know what I mean? So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But that's why I think he's important because he and the family, I guess, well, in general, it's
Well, they
important.
have two teams, right? So yeah.
Two teams, right? They have two teams. That's why they're that important in Detroit sports. And um, I think at the end of the day, like, yeah, all at the end of the day, all the decisions run through them. So um, can't be cheap. At the end of the day, especially when you have a team in position to win that has a chance to be a winning team, you have to like strike while the iron's hot. Especially when you're not like the New York Yankees or the Boston Red Sox or the Mets or those or the Dodgers, right? Those teams that just can constantly buy players every single year. Like you
Yeah.
have to strike when you have a window or when you have a like the '05 White Sox, right? I'll go back to that. That was a lightning in the bottle team, right? Did
The
the
pitching
pitching?
staff was good though, man.
Well, they were. They
Contreras,
really, and they were
Burley,
probably
Garland.
on paper, they were probably a better team the next season, right? But you know what?
Yeah.
They added pieces, right? And they had probably a 4 year period, probably '05 to '09, where they were good. They were a
And
good
a
base
lot of those players in 2005 had career years for the White
career
Sox.
years,
It
right?
worked out
But
really
they,
well.
but they added pieces because they knew at the deadline because they said, okay, we need to add pieces, right? We have a chance to do this thing right now, right? Had they not done that, they probably don't win the World Series, and who knows at that point, right? So that's what
Yeah.
you got to do. I don't know if he's got it in him. I don't know. I don't know if he will.
Well, you've mentioned my eight. I do have AJ Hinch at eight. Yeah, I mean, could echo the same things that you said, but like, uh, I really don't have a lot. Like, there's always things about Jim Leland where it's like he would he would like take players that are playing really well. Like Brandon Inge could be on like a streak of like 5 home runs in like 6 days, and then be like, I'm gonna bench him, and that would piss me off to no end. And then you had guys like Osmus that were the worst at managing bullpens
Mhm.
uh, that I've ever seen any manager. And then Gardenhire was just like you knew he was in it for like I got to do something here because this team we're starting Mikey Matuk, right?
Yeah.
So it's like
Yeah.
you got certain things where I've had certain qualms with every single manager that they've run out there. But like Hinch, the only complaint that I have, and it's kind of just the way that baseball's trending, like probably 50 to 75% of the managers do it this way, but they overuse metrics. They take analytics,
Yes.
right? And so he starts players, he'll take players out of the lineup just because, well, I want this righty facing this lefty, even though this lefty hitter I'm taking out of the lineup is Kerry Carpenter, and he's needs to start hitting lefties because he's a good hitter. You got to let
Right.
him
We need
just
him in the
hit
lineup
those.
every day because he's one of our better hitters. So we just got to figure out a way for him to hit lefties. He can't, that type. I agree with that. I would agree.
Yeah.
He's over into the analytics, and to me, it's a cop out for certain managers, right? Because it's like, oh, you can always point to the reason why you made a decision if you're just using the numbers and the analytics, right?
And
Instead
he
of
gets praised if it works out. You put Andy
right,
Ibanez in to face a lefty. It's one of the
right,
best
and
right-handed hitters against lefties in baseball.
exactly,
But that's all
exactly,
he is outside of a decent utility guy. And then he
yeah,
hits a home run to win the game. Like
exactly. Then
AJ
it becomes
Hinch, AJ Hinch, AJ
right,
Hinch, right?
exactly. When it's like, yeah, was that? But if he struck out, like, what does that
Yeah.
move like, right?
There's
At the end of
tons
the
of
day,
times where you put Jay Hen in for Kerry Carpenter and you're like,
right.
what?
And then but that's sports and baseball in general. At the end of the day, the result is what's gonna get praised or not, right? And I'm of the opinion like, hey, if your process is right, especially in baseball, because you're not, I mean, you're gonna fail more than you succeed. If your process is right, then I can live with it. But I like the numbers. Like I want to. If I was a manager, I would want to know. I would want to know all the analytics. I want to know all those numbers. But I can't live and
You're
die
not
off.
you're not living on your gut. See, I'm trusting my
No,
gut.
man. Like you gotta like. Who knows what's going on with that guy that day, right? You might not know. Like some guy might have his grandpa might have died earlier today. Like the
You would
analytics.
hope they tell you that, right?
Right, but that's what I'm saying though. Like you would know that as a manager, but the analytics don't know that, right?
Hmm.
The analytics don't know that he had the stomach flu 2 days ago and he lost 5 pounds in a day, right? Oh, but the analytics say he crushes this guy. Yeah, but he could barely, walk this
Get out
morning.
of bed
I
that
mean,
morning,
things like
right?
that,
Yeah.
right? So I think you got to use your gut and you got to use your, but you got to also lean into the analytics for information, I guess. So, but I would agree with Hinch on that. I'm gonna go a different route here because I think he's about this close to like I would say he's probably already there if you just look at the stats. But I'm gonna go Jameer Gibbs.
Hey, that's my number
Super,
nine. Same, we have the
super,
same nine.
super. I think he's this close to like superstardom. And the only reason
Yeah.
he's not is because they're trying to keep him healthy by having David Montgomery, and
He's a
Montgomery is
2,000 yards guy,
right. I mean,
almost
I
anywhere
mean
else.
Gibbs is elite at everything. I mean, we're talking like I think he could be the best back in the NFL, and I think he probably is or close. Has an argument right now, but I'm happy to have Montgomery because I want him healthy. I want both of them
Talented.
healthy.
And Montgomery's super talented
And
too.
he
It's
is right.
like,
It's not like he's a slouch. Yeah, exactly. But I'm gonna go Gibbs. I mean, you got a superstar like that, man, and that's a Brad Holmes winner right there. Like that one,
Everyone was bashing
he
that
can
pick
throw
like
that one in
crazy.
everybody's face, you know. So
Like everyone, the gap that everyone saw. And Jameer Gibbs is my number 9 too, so I'll just keep going. But like, uh, the gap that people thought they saw between Bijan Robinson in that draft to like Jameer Gibbs and anyone else
no, I know,
was expansive.
I
And so
know.
when they you move all the way up to 12 and trade up to get Jameer Gibbs, right?
Yep,
Or no,
yep,
they traded back because they didn't get Witherspoon.
correct.
And then yeah, and then they
Yep.
moved back in. But so yeah, he's turned out, man.
Right
And
away too. He hit immediately. He was
yeah,
good his
like
rookie year.
so like I saw it in the yeah, we see it in the preseason, right? I remember just seeing him take off for the first time. Like, okay, I saw he was fast in college at
Right.
Georgia and Bama, but like, wow.
It's an extra gear here.
Yeah. And then we saw the strength for week one. He not
Mhm.
only just took off, took the to the next level, but like he ran over a dude or two.
Yep.
And it's
Yep.
like, okay, we've got like the best of both worlds. You got your power here, and then you
Yep.
mix the th you
Well,
mix the power of David Montgomery with him.
and you really saw it when, Montgomery goes down last year and gets hurt. It's like, okay, he can be a lead back too. He's not just he can run every play, right? He's
Yeah,
not
he
like
can run 25
outside,
carries a game. Yeah.
right? He and catch the ball out of it. I mean, he's a complete back and he's superstar. Lions haven't had like a superstar like that to me since Barry. I mean, they've had good running backs. They've had really good running backs who have had good individual seasons. You know, Williams season a few years ago was great. They've Kevin Jones had a
Zach
great
Zenner.
season. Well, yeah, they had some guys that were had really good seasons, but they haven't had a guy like this since Barry Sanders. So that's why I think he deserves to be up there.
Special. Yeah. Yep, he's my number 9. So you can run right to your number 10 here.
Um, I'll go with Sewell. I mean, I
Yep.
think you got to have him up there, vocal, vocal leader of the team. At the end of the day, I think he team goes as he goes. So, and he kind of embodies that grit and that spirit that Detroit is all about. So, um, yeah, I'm gonna go with Panay there.
Well, after a 3 for 4 game today and a home run, I'm gonna go with Riley Green here for my 10. Um,
Who's the best player on the team?
yeah, he's hitting just about 290, right there now, tied with Spencer Torkelson in home runs lead. Still not ahead of him in RBIs, but 34 RBIs is pretty dang close. I think Torque's at 39. Um, so
Green's a
yeah,
better
Riley Green though, like
Green's a better player.
the fielding guy, left field, center field, like they don't want to play much at center field, but like when Javi Baez needs a day off and they don't have Akil Baddoo can't play that position, right? Veerling's not back yet. Parker Meadows isn't healthy yet. Riley Green's going to be there to take care of it and still make the incredible catches. He runs like a 40-year-old man. That's my biggest knock on him is like, can anyone outside of Dimitri Young run gumpier? I don't know, but Dimitri Young had the worst run of all time. Just
Yeah, true.
maybe Sean Casey getting thrown out from running the first base
From
from
left
like
field.
left
That
field.
was the
Yeah,
worst play of all time.
might be.
And then he
That's
throws his helmet and is like just
like,
livid.
yeah. I think he thought the third baseman caught it, and so he
He
kind of
did
stopped,
because
and then
it
he's
came
like,
off
"Oh,
his
what?"
glove, and
And
then
then he
he's
still
like, "Oh
runs
my!"
like
But
he's a
then the
hundred.
fact that you still were able to get thrown out
Yeah,
from
so
left field,
good. It's yeah.
like,
But
what are we
Riley
doing?
Green, just he already had it. He had a massive slump here for a minute
Mhm.
already this year. So we're hoping, but I think people just are so quick to write off Riley or Torkelson whenever they've hit ruts this year. And it's
Mhm.
like that's baseball. Shohei Ohtani had a stretch here where he went like 5 of 46. So like it's not unheard of that even the best player in baseball
Yep.
goes 5 of 40. Players go through slumps. It's a long
Oh,
season.
the league adjusts. You go through slumps. You're banged up. You're hurt, and you
Mhm.
just play through it because you have to, right? You don't have off days, and
Mhm.
especially when you're that important of a player. I mean, um, Torkelson's adjust. I mean, he's just made bigger adjustments than I thought he
His
really.
batting stance has changed. He's
I mean,
fixed it.
everything's changed about
After
that.
being at the beginning of last year, and people were like asking him about what he's fixed and if he wants to be here. Like he's like, I trust what I'm doing. If there's
Yeah,
nothing that feels better than hitting a
I
home
think
run.
after last year when it's like it didn't really work, big dog, you had to get sent down. Like I
Yeah.
think at that point he was like, all right, I actually have to like change because like he's changed everything about what he's doing, and now he's tapped into the potential. Now was he? Is he ever going to be that number one overall pick level? Um,
I don't know if anyone in this draft will
you'd,
be
you'd
at that
like
level.
that. You'd like that guy to be able to hit, 280 to 300 with the power and the RBIs, but you
I
know,
don't know if I ever expected him to be a 300 hitter though. I think
no,
270 was probably my deal with like 30 home runs.
no,
But, you know, but he's been clutch this year too. It's not just like there's times where he's like he just has started the game 0 for 3 with 3 strikeouts and
but
he
then
gets
he'll
up
hit
in
a
the
big
ninth
home run.
inning and then
But
he
then
hits
he'll
a
hit a big
2-run
home
home
run.
run over the wall to take the lead.
That's what actually matters. Clutch hitting is more important to me. Like hitting when it matters is more important.
And even if he strikes out, if he's battling these pitchers to like 8 or 9 pitches every at bat too, sometimes like see the ball, wear a pitch out. Like
Yep.
that's another thing you want to see, even if you're striking out. So it's
Yep.
not all about that. So yeah, this is a pretty good top 10. I'm gonna rattle off a couple of my next. So I actually made my top 63 name of the podcast, but I'm not gonna read them all. But Brian Branch was there at 11.
Sure.
Trajan Langdon, I have at 12.
Okay. Yeah.
Kerry Carpenter, Kerry Bonds there at 13. Frank Ragnow,
Yep.
Malik Beasley this year, although in the playoffs he could probably argue to go down. Dylan Larkin, um,
I had Larkin at like 12. I would have put.
yeah.
He's the heart and soul of that team.
hmm Kirby Joseph, I have there at 17. Sheila Ford Hamp, I have there at 18. She's turned around that Ford name
Oh
quite
yeah.
a bit.
Oh yeah.
19, I told you I had Chris Fetter.
Mhm.
20, Spencer Torkelson. Uh, Asar Thompson at 21. Liam McNeil, 22. Jared Goff, I had at 23. I didn't think about that. I'm like, people chant his name. He could probably stand to be higher.
Mhm.
But 24, I have Mo Sider. 25, David Montgomery. 26 was JB Bickerstaff. Uh, 27, Jack Flaherty. 28 is Todd McClellan. 29, Jamison Williams. 30, Jalen Duran. And then
Yeah.
I have Patrick Kane. I had Steve Yzerman at 32, but I didn't think of it the way that you did. So when I'm thinking of important, I wasn't necessarily thinking of like his
I
job is
didn't
like
necessarily
it's
take
pressure to win.
their performance. Like, yeah, it matters. I didn't necessarily take that into account. I took it more as um like is who has the most important, like who has the most riding on their job right now. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
and that's a good way to look at it too, which is why I like that we did our separate, top 10
Yeah.
to get that thought process in there.
Yep. Yep.
Then a couple more here. Lucas Raymond, Alex DeBrincat, Tom Gores, Tobias Harris, Scott Harris,
Yep.
Tyler Holton, Terrion Arnold, Isaiah Stewart, Alex Anzalone, Sam Laporta, Vladimir Tarasenko, Parker Meadows, Simon Edvinson. Then I had Chris Illich at 46, Jaden Ivey, Gleyber Torres, Cam Talbot, Mark Delisle, Jake Bates, Tim Hardaway Jr., Matt Vierling, Reese Olson, Jonathan Bergen, Taylor
Jake
Decker,
Bates.
Will Vest, Jack Campbell, Casey Mize, Ryan Gustafson, Javier Baez at 61, Jack Fox at 62, and then my 63 was Tommy Canley.
Tommy Canley.
He got the save today.
He's on the
Five
list.
to four win for the Tigers.
He's on the list.
So, yep,
Cool.
there's our 63.
Sweet.
All right. Well, thanks for showing up this week, guys, and we'll be in touch on the next podcast.
Yeah, for sure.
See you.